On YouTube, Luca back with another video on, I love to talk about mental health, and, it's the foundation of who we are. So we really need to, get to grips on what's what, why things play up, and how we feel inside, because to be honest, that is all we have at the end of the day. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about porn and the addiction to it. I separate the two in that sentence because porn and the addiction to it are two different things, but obviously they correlate, as we all know. So I'm going to jump straight in and talk about the addiction to it and what it has to do, what it has to do with our mental health. When I talk about mental health, I mean just like the foundation of how we think, how we perceive the world, how we perceive people, certain types of people, women mainly, as a man, and your general outlook on life. It can be greatly impacted, actually. So I'm going to be talking about the mental health side of it first. So when we watch porn, right, we are tricking our brain into thinking that we are receiving sex of some other woman in real life, because the brain can't really differentiate between the feeling of it and the actual real experience of it. So it's sort of like constantly, if you're doing it multiple times a day, you're constantly tricking your brain into thinking that you're getting women and you're reproducing your seed, which is our innate drive as males in the first place. So you're tricking your brain into thinking that you're doing all of this, the thing that we were made to do, or really our sole purpose on this earth. We're tricking our brain into thinking that we're doing that multiple times a day, one time a day, multiple times a week. Well, it is multiple times a day for some people, but I'll get onto that. So when we're tricking our brain into thinking that, we are damaging our receptors, in not just our dopamine receptors, we're rinsing them dry, literally. When you watch porn, you are squeezing your dopamine valve, if you like, because it releases so much, because it is a great feeling, and you get a lot of visual stimuli from it. So when you constantly trick your brain, you are in a state of knowing that you get all these girls, I'm reproducing all the time, I'm doing really well, when in reality you're not, because you're watching porn and it's fake and it's not real, and you're not actually partaking in the intimacy and the action of having sex with somebody for real. Instead, you're in the comfort of your home, probably, hopefully, on your phone, in your bedroom or in the bathroom or somewhere, and you're tricking your brain into thinking that, because there's countless beautiful women on a porn site, isn't there? So you're tricking your brain into thinking, I'm getting all these girls, I'm reproducing my seed constantly. And when I say reproduce my seed, I mean our innate sense to do that as male. So when you're constantly doing that, when you do get into an interaction with a woman, so when you do get into an interaction with a woman for real, you can't perform, because you're so used to the confinements of your home, and you're so used to the confinements of being comfortable with just whipping up a page on your phone or on your computer and just jerking off to it. So when you do get in a real life situation, you freeze up. You don't know what to do, because oh my god, I at the time I tricked my brain into thinking that I've done this a million times, but really you didn't, did you? Because we all know. And then that will damage your not only your self-esteem, because you would have damaged your mental health into thinking that you can do that to yourself without any consequences, and it will also reduce your dopamine levels in everyday activity. So say you picked up a book and you tried to read 30 pages, you'd find it extremely difficult, because you wouldn't find any dopamine in that. It's very low dopamine reading a book. I guess finishing it would be the highest part of the dopamine / stories in the book, but you grasp what I'm saying. So all these low dopamine activities in the day will just be excruciatingly boring, and you'll be urging for that hit of dopamine that you need and you want. And that's really negative, because that will make you lazy, unmotivated. I'm going to get onto that in a minute. Drive and stuff. So, with mental health, it can not only lower your self-esteem, but it lowers your chemical and neurological biology in your body. So it's, yeah, man, we just gotta stop. I'm gonna say that after every chapter in this video, because we do need to stop. Like, it's way, but life is better without it. Next is aging. There is sort of a bit of conspiracy around age porn and aging and just wanking in general. So when I talk about aging, I mean apparently you can constantly letting your seed go. You're aging yourself quicker because you're getting through what your life is supposed to be about, or apparently quicker because you're constantly doing it. So again, with your biology and your mind and your psychology, you are aging yourself quicker because you're doing all the things that you were put on this planet to do. And that's where the aging thing, plus it can fuck with your hairline and your skin, and you know, it's bad for you physically and spiritually and mentally. The next is anxiety. I talked about the anxiety with real life women and how it's hard to interact with women if you're constantly used to being able to get them on the internet all the time. So that can be also damaging. But the anxiety can come just in everyday life. You don't even have to be talking to a woman in a flirtatious way. Just any interaction you have throughout the day, like with a cashier. I've given that example before. With a cashier, with a colleague, with even maybe your parents. You know, you might be overthinking that, but it causes you to overthink, and it causes. This is the majority, so I'm not generalizing, but it can cause you to cause you to overthink. You can't talk, and you're so used to the most intimate thing you can do is have sex, right? So when you're constantly exploiting that feeling, you're tricking your mind into thinking that you're doing all this intimate stuff when really you're just not. And then when you do get into more convivial, intimate situations in real life, you can't perform because you're so bloody used to it. So that's also another really damaging thing that can cause it. Next is drive. Our general drive to get up in the morning and go and do what we need to do: gym, work, play, read, write, anything you're doing, right? Perform, sing, make music, whatever you're doing, right? You know what you're doing. I know what I'm doing. At the end of the day, if you're constantly doing, again, with the innate thing of releasing your seed, that is your innate motivation in this world, is to reproduce. So when you're constantly doing it every single day, you are making it, you're tricking yourself into thinking that you've done what you've needed to do, and everything else seems sort of trivial and redundant after you're done. So it's like that can play with your drive in life, because you're constantly tricking your mind into thinking that you're doing the thing that you're supposed to do as a man, when really you're not, because we live in the secular human world and we're not animals, and we can't just lay about all day licking our dick and fucking, you know, like a dog would, you know. So yeah, so the drive thing is very important. Like, it can mess with your drive in general. The next is rewiring. I'm going to talk about, with the rewiring, it's going to be positive. If you know you're addicted to porn, you watch it every day, maybe a couple of times a day, like, or most of the days of the week, and you know you can't get off it, like you're addicted for real. With the rewiring, you need to start. First of all, you need to, maybe if you are to have to masturbate, right? If you are to, don't watch the porn, but still do it, and just use your mind, use your mind, use your meditative mind, if you like, and instead of watching the porn, you still get the same fulfillment at the end of the day. But because you're addicted to the porn, it's hard to think of you doing that without it. So you need to try and get into the swing of doing that, maybe, if you can't even hold it in at all. That's one way. The next way is, if you do have post-anxiety from your porn addiction, you need to start ranking up your interactions with people. Say if it's a random person, go speak to them. You know, the cashier, say, how's your day going? How's the job holding up? I didn't know you worked here, whatever. Like, you can just make up things on the spot, or even have them planned if you're that type of person. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying what some people are like. They can't think in the moment. They have to sort of premeditate things. And by the way, this is where this book, The Power of the Now by Eckhart Tolle, right? It explains that planning things and getting anxious over the future is getting anxious over an illusion. Like, it hasn't happened yet. It's not. It doesn't exist. So the more we conspire about it, the more anxious we get, because we're starting to plan and, you know. So the rewiring, you need to start rewiring your brain into really getting interactive with people and in yourself, instead of some like slightly, I don't know, porn is a tricky one. But yeah, man, we gotta quit, because you gotta quit probably. I quit because I'll give you my own account, because I noticed it. I noticed what it was doing to me. Like, it would make me different, and it would creep me out, because I'd be like, all right one day, do it, and then be wrong the next day. It could have been chance, but I'm blaming it because it was consistent. So just stay aware of yourself, stay aware of those type of things, and take care of yourself. Understand your addictions and conquer them one day at a time. Take care and love everyone around you, man. Peace.